How's it going, everybody? I'm the big guy. I am the one and only. There's been none before me. There's been none after me. Therefore, I am the one and only Jake Covey. And welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got a great week for you this week with your Raw and SmackDown review. We got the news of the week, followed by Hell in a Cell feuds that I truly believe have lived up to the hype. And then we have a review of Hell in a Cell 2010. And of course, we got your WWE drink of the week, followed by a reading from the Book of Rules. And finally, we have your Battle Droid of the week. Well, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, with the news this week, as the always reliable WrestleVotes who have broken a lot of news, whether it's been the unification of titles or people signing with WWE or contracts ending, has reported that according to Backstage, after talking to a few people, they gather that Sasha and Naomi's situation is going to get worse before it gets any better. While majority support them online, it was quite the opposite with management. Again, I don't know if this is a work or not, because people, including Fightful, are reporting that Naomi and Sasha are still listed on shows on the active roster. So I don't know what's going on with this. It could be one of the biggest works we've ever seen, or it could just be actually that these two just decide, fuck it, we don't need our jobs anymore. Hey, I live by the Rocky line, man. Live for nothing, die for something, man. And that is from Rambo, the fourth movie. It's inspired a nation that was going through a coup, inspired a lot of people. So, live for nothing, die for something. If you really truly believe that you were being screwed over and you want to stand up, then hey, more power to you. But I don't know. I don't know if it was more of them being standing up for. I could believe Naomi really standing up for something. I truly do. I promise, I don't know with Sasha Banks. I mean, I love her. I support her as a wrestler. She's an amazing wrestler. I'm a huge fan of hers. But apparently this all started at WrestleMania 38, where Sasha had zero interest in really performing in her match for the Tag Team Championships. She wanted to be in the main event slot with Charlotte Flair. And when Ronda Rousey came back, she had no interest in performing in that. It's been confirmed by Fightful. And while Naomi is sitting at home trying to think of what to do, we have Sasha Banks at concerts and everything. I don't know if she's trying to blow off steam. If she is, hey, it's more power to you, but I just don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to begrudge on it. Moving on. Let's move on to our next story, as The Rock has no movie commitments for WrestleMania 39, which means we might get the big story we've finally been waiting for, The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 in LA. Yo, I would love to see this match. This match would make me smile. It would truly make me enjoy WrestleMania 39, because apparently we're going to get some amazing matches with Becky Lynch working her way back to the top to face Ronda Rousey. And The Rock versus Roman Reigns. We might get a good Seth Rollins versus... I'm trying to think of who would be a great match for him. I don't know. There's so many people on the roster who could have a great match with him. There's a lot of ways this could go, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe The Miz versus MJF. Who knows? It would be a great story. The fact that The Rock is always coming back to WWE always makes me smile. Like, hey, you never forgot where you came from. You've always stayed true to yourself. That's what I love about The Rock. And then our final story this week is Ric Flair is coming out of retirement for one last match. Apparently he has consulted over 40 doctors, in his own words. His own words, I don't have any aches or pains. I know I've had health issues, but I've asked 40 different doctors, and I decided I'm only going to listen to one, not necessarily the one that's going to give me the right answer, but I felt most comfortable with. So apparently he's ready to go. He is ready to wrestle again. I don't know who his opponent should be. There is a rumor going around there was rumors going around that it was going to be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But there's one other rumor. That's going to be Hulk Hogan. I don't know if that's true. It'd be awesome. But that's a match you need in WWE, not on an indie show. You need that in WWE at WrestleMania, in my opinion. Not even at WrestleMania. I'll go Crown Jewel. I'll go a Saudi show. But you need that in a stadium. For one last time, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. I don't know. I think it'd be awesome. But that's your news this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kick into SmackDown. With SmackDown kicked off with the Bloodline in the ring. With Roman Reigns saying, you know what I want? I expect you two to deliver. The only reason I have these expectations is because I love you. Roman Reigns is talking about the Unified Tag Team Championship match that's supposed to go on in the main event that night. He even interrupted Paul Heyman saying that is not a prediction, it's a split, and he grabs the mic and says his line, hugs the Usos. Roman Reigns has become the perfect heel, I swear to God. He's become such an amazing heel because he then hugs the Usos and just smiles evilishly into the camera. So evil, I swear to God. I just looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's like not even something Al Pacino would do. And I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. God, I can't remember. He played the devil in the movie. It'll come to me later, and I'll be sitting here eating Chinese food, and I'll be like, oh, that's the name of the movie. Anyway, we then got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Shinsuke Nakamura was able to defeat Sami Zayn in actually a very good match. Sami Zayn did not lose by countout. He ran back into the ring, which is something that we haven't seen from Sami Zayn. Maybe this is the beginning of a face turn, and I'll get more into that in my Raw review. We then got Happy Corbin saying he did everyone a favor in WWE by taking out Madcap Moss. And he was right about him being the big bad wolf because he huffed and puffed and blew Madcap Moss away. And then he destroyed on the stairs, on the table, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy. I guess that's the end of that trophy. Maybe it's the end of the Memorial Battle Royal, which is funny because it actually, a couple names above Madcap Moss is Baron Corbin. So I thought that was a little funny. We then got Gunther versus Drew Gulak. Gunther is basically a squash match, which is smart. This has been a great way to book Gunther coming to the main roster. Walter, whatever you want to call him. I still like to call him Walter, even though I don't mind Gunther, because apparently it's an homage to his grandfather, I believe. I don't know, but I don't mind it. But he did have a great match, a great squash match. Drew Gulak really playing his role here. Shout out to Drew Gulak not being afraid to take those losses, man. That's going to help you in the end one day. One day, that's, we always talk about Jinder Mahal getting squashed. He became WWE champion. I'm not saying Drew Gulak's going to be WWE champion, but you never know. After the match, Ricochet came out, and chased Gunther off after he would refuse to stop beating the shit out of Drew Gulak, which was kind of funny, but also at the same time, I'm wondering, are they going to take the belt off Ricochet and put it on Gunther? I hope not, because I like Ricochet with the title on him, and maybe he's the one to defeat Roman Reigns. Maybe they'll take the tail off him, and he'll go into a main event picture and actually have a great match that he deserved to have with Brock Lesnar in Saudi Arabia at Super Showdown, if anyone remembers that. But maybe he'll finally get that with Roman Reigns. We then got LA Knight making his first appearance on the main roster with his new name, Max Dupree. Why does that sound familiar? He told Adam Pearce that he was signed by Sonya Deville before he was fired, and Dupree is the CEO of Maximum Male Models and will introduce the next generation of WWE superstars. Oh, crap. This isn't going to be good, is it? We then got RK Bro cutting a nice promo on the Usos backstage. RK Bro 420 means we just smoked your ass. Apparently, it was revealed later on that Randy Orton actually was having serious back troubles backstage, and he was having trouble standing. So, it unfortunately looks like we will have Randy Orton on the back burner for a while after this. We then got Raquel Rodriguez versus Shotzi in a very good match. I really enjoyed this match. I felt both superstars were allowed to perform and allowed to do what they really truly felt. So shout out to them for letting these NXT girls come out and really perform. We then got Xavier Woods versus Butch in a okay match. I feel like this match has... I don't know. It's just these matches have just gone their way, and we need to move on from this feud. Xavier Woods would win the match. Butch would attack him. And next week, Kofi Kingston is returning. He's going to bring another man to fight Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. So looks like we'll be getting another third person. What if it's Big E? What if suddenly out of nowhere Big E shows up, rips off the neck bracelets like, I'm back, motherfuckers. Let's do this. That would be awesome. And finally, in your main event, well, actually I shouldn't say the main event. Right before the main event, Michael Cole announced that Sasha Banks and Naomi have been suspended indefinitely, and a tournament will take place to crown the new WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I don't know if this is a work. This is why I think it's a work. Because they would never address this on regular TV if it wasn't a work. I don't know. My head hurts. And in your main event of the evening, we got the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos versus the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, in a great match. An amazing tag team match. What a way to close the show. Everything was going right for RK Bro. Riddle was about to hit an RKO from off the top of the rope. And as he does, Roman Reigns just pushes Jimmy, I believe it was Jimmy, a little bit, so Riddle falls. Jimmy hits the top rope splash. And 1, 2, 3. New Unified Tag Team Champions. It's official. We have new Unified Champions in the Usos. The Bloodline didn't stop there, though. They attacked RK Bro relentlessly, putting Randy in the guillotine, then putting him through a table. Riddle getting destroyed by the Usos with a couple super kicks. It was a great destruction. I mean, they were kind to the crowd, and people were crying, man. I mean, you had grown men crying, and I saw this on Twitter. Somebody posted that, and I'm like, well, they're doing something right. They are perfect heels. This is awesome. Shout out to the Bloodline. Have 6 titles now. Maybe Naomi and Sasha will come back, win the women's championships, and win the tag team championships again. And they will have all the gold in WWE. Maybe have Paul Heyman with the 24/7 championship. That'd be funny as fuck. Now we move to Raw. Raw kicked off with Riddle saying that Randy couldn't even walk after the Bloodline attack. And apparently it is true. He has a really bad injury. He really is hurt. So, apparently we're not going to see Randy Orton for a little while. Which sucks. But it looks like Riddle's going to be a challenger at Hell in a Cell. That's what they're planning on. Riddle then said he's not sure if RK Bro will be a thing anymore, but he sends Randy good wishes, and he will come for vengeance against Roman Reigns. We then got a 6-man tag team match. You know how I feel about them. But this one was actually pretty good. It was Riddle and the Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and the Undisputed Tag Team Champions, the Usos. Very good match, and it actually had a surprising end of the Usos walking out on Sami Zayn. This is why I think Sami Zayn is turning face. He put all his eggs in the basket with the Bloodline. It's like, okay, they accept me, they support me, I am going to be a part of this faction. And then they just leave. I'd want revenge. So I could see Sami Zayn becoming a face and going after Roman Reigns. I would love to see that. We then got Bobby Lashley trying to issue an almighty challenge to MVP and to Omos. And he said that later on the night, if MVP will face him and beat him, he could choose the stipulation. But if MVP loses, Bobby Lashley will choose the stipulation. So this could be a really fun match. And it could be really different. I hope because now it's MVP choosing the stipulation. Apparently they were talking about having it be in Hell in a Cell. But what I actually think will happen is I could actually see them doing this as a 2-on-1 handicap match. That's what I see happen. We then got the Judgment Day offering invitations to anyone who wants to join them. Whether it is Corey Graves, Alexa Bliss, anyone who wants to listen can join the Judgment Day, even Liv Morgan. And for a second after the match, because we would get a match between AJ Styles, Liv Morgan versus the Judgment Day of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. I like this because I like it better when it's a backstage promo. I think they're using Edge a bit too much. I liked it when Edge was more of a part-time of just, hey, he might show up tonight. This might be cool. This might sell tickets. That's why I really liked it. I think they're using him a bit too much. But after the match, because Judgment Day would pull up the win after Edge would hold Rhea's tights on the edge, so that way Liv Morgan couldn't hit the Oblivion. Liv Morgan would then fall back, hitting her head, letting Rhea pin her. We would then get the beatdown of AJ Styles, and for a second I thought, Liv is going to get in on this. Liv is going to get in on this beatdown of her beating down AJ Styles. I thought that would have been awesome. That would have been a great way to turn her heel that we haven't seen since she's been in the Riot Squad. Because she's been this lovable baby face. I don't know. It would have been cool to see. After this, we got King's Court with Jerry the King Lawler. I was shocked. I had no idea this was happening. I just saw... I heard the music and I'm like, no way, what the fuck is that? And I actually exploded in my chair. I just yelled up, Jerry! I was so happy to see Jerry the King Lawler, ladies and gentlemen. I love him. He's awesome to me. I love Jerry the King Lawler. He then had King's Court with Veer Mahan. Tried to make fun of him, saying he wore cheap cologne. All that shit. And as Veer was about to attack the King, you know, he's Jerry the King Lawler. As he was about to attack the King, we got the Mysterios coming out to make the save. And that was awesome. The Mysterios come out, make the save, and I guess this is going to get booked for Hell in a Cell. It's a 2-on-1. I would see this as a 2-on-1 handicap where the Mysterios finally turn on one another. I don't know. Maybe build that for SummerSlam. We then got Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Ash. Apparently this match was supposed to be longer, and Sonya Deville was supposed to get involved, but for some reason that never happened. Nikki Ash and Alexa Bliss work on the chemistry that they have a very good match. I really enjoyed this match. Very fun. Alexa Bliss picks up the win. We then got Cody Rhodes versus The Miz. And unfortunately, this match really never had time to get started, as Cody Rhodes would win by DQ after Seth would beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes. He would then steal the weight belt that Cody Rhodes gives to kids in the crowd before his match from a kid. Beat the shit out of Cody with it. Cody would steal it back, give it to the kid again. And he would limp to the back and say, hey, I'm ready for Hell in a Cell. Let's do this. I'm going to beat the shit out of you, Seth. This is going to be fun. I'm excited for this Hell in a Cell match. You then got Ezekiel versus Chad Gable. Ezekiel was able to win with a roll-up. Chad Gable and Otis tried to attack. but it wouldn't work. Kevin Owens then slid into the ring and challenged Ezekiel to a match at Hell in a Cell in Chicago. Hopefully this is the end of this storyline. Ezekiel Elias, I'm fucking tired of it. I just want the storyline to be over. You then got Bobby Lashley versus MVP. Bobby Lashley fought hard in this match, but it was a 2-on-1 affair, basically, as Omos would fight as well. He would do everything behind the ref's back. Bobby Lashley would knock him over the barricade, but not hear the ref's count of 10. MVP would win by countout. By the way, it was cool to see MVP back in the ring, as he was wearing his old muscle gear, which I love. Again, I'm a huge fan of MVP, so it was awesome to see him back in his old gear. We then got Lacey Evans announcing she will make her in-ring return next week on Raw. And finally, in your main event, we got Becky Lynch versus Asuka in a great match until the finish. If Becky Lynch would win, it would be a triple threat match at Hell in a Cell. It might be in Hell in a Cell, which would be awesome to see. But Becky Lynch would hit Asuka on the table. Asuka would just break the count of 10 and just lie there, and Becky Lynch would make the pin. I have no clue what happened. I don't know why that happened. That was a terrible finish. I don't get it. In the words of Jontron,
I get it. I don't get it.
I have no clue. So let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. That was Raw this week, and I think I know what my Battle Droid of the Week's going to be. Let's move on to Hell in a Cell matches that really lived up to the hype. Let's start off with Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre in the Thunderdome era. Drew McIntyre was carrying the program. He had amazing matches with Randy Orton, whether it was the ambulance match or the match they had at SummerSlam. This was supposed to be the culmination of their feud. And him and Randy Orton did Hell in a Cell proud. I was actually on the Thunderdome for this match. So if you look, I think you'll actually see me in the front row a couple times during this match. I was shocked. I didn't think that would happen. But I was so happy because, like I always say, then I saw a Hell in a Cell match live. I was there for Hell in a Cell. So that made me smile. But it was an amazing match. It truly had greatness in my mind of when they were brawling on top of the cell. I couldn't help but think of Undertaker, Mankind truly just going at it. These two hated each other. And Randy Orton dives out of the way of the Claymore, hits an RKO, 1, 2, 3, new champion for the 14th time in his career. That was just shocking. Everybody, like, they even said, like, hey, let's get our shock faces on. And I just went, no one needs to get their shock faces on. They're already on. I was shocked at least. I was happy because I thought this meant we were getting Edge versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Randy Orton would lose the title next night on Raw. But I enjoyed this match. It was a fun match. It's one that lived up to the hype, in my opinion. We then got The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. The culmination of their feud as well. It feels like all these feuds, they'll always culminate in Hell in a Cell for a reason. Because Triple H said it best, when two guys truly hate each other, truly cannot stand each other, you throw them into a cell, lock the door, and just let them go at it. And Undertaker and Brock Lesnar went at it in this Hell in a Cell. They had Undertaker losing at WrestleMania 30 to end the streak 21-1. It's supposed to be 22-0, but Undertaker loses 21-1. Then you have him pick up the win at SummerSlam through mischievous means of low-blowing Brock Lesnar, locking into Hell's Gate, and Brock Lesnar passing out for the technical submission. And now it's time to finish this. One last time. Hell in a Cell. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. They would have a Hell in a Cell match way earlier in their careers. Brock Lesnar would win to defend the WWE Championship. It was an okay match. Nothing that I would really write home about. But this one, they pulled out everything. Chairs, tables. They even broke the ring. They would tear the ring mat up so it was on the exposed wood. He would hit an F5 on The Undertaker. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar wins the feud. 2-1. And that was the end of The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. It was shocking. It was amazing. It had those moments of The Undertaker hitting the tombstone where you're like, okay, it's over. Undertaker wins. It had every false finish on everyone on their seat of going, was that only 2? Was that seriously only 2? It was a great match. Truly one that I love. Let's move on now to a different feud of Edge versus Seth Rollins. Another culmination of a feud that would actually start at SummerSlam. Edge versus Seth Rollins in Las Vegas. They would have an amazing match where Edge would actually bring back his brood music before going back to his regular gimmick. He would then beat the crap out of Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, making him tap out, and would then have a match at Madison Square Garden where Seth would beat Edge so badly that Edge had to be carried out on a stretcher. And finally, Edge would come out and say, Seth, you and me, crown jewel, Hell in a Cell. I have to say it like Vince McMahon. It's just perfect. And would they put on a banger? Steel chairs, kendo sticks, chains. Chains would be the deciding factor as Edge rolled up a chain on his boot. Hit the stomp. 1, 2, 3. Picks up the win. What a match. I can't do it justice. Great match. Fun match. Go watch it. Next, I have Undertaker Triple H WrestleMania 28 Miami. The match that stole the show. The end of an era. I know, it's hard to say that. They stole the show with The Rock and John Cena main eventing. But this was a great match. Coming from WrestleMania 27 of Undertaker winning, but Triple H actually leaving on his feet. Undertaker not being able to walk off. Triple H walks off. And Undertaker says, I won the match. You won the war. Give me my revenge. And Triple H saying, I'm not doing it because I know what I have to do. I have to finish you, and I ain't going to do it. Undertaker then says, you aren't as good as Shawn Michaels. And we get it. Triple H takes off his suit jacket, takes off his tie, and says, you want an end? I'll give you an end. WrestleMania. Hell in a Cell. Special guest referee is Shawn Michaels. And they put on a banger. Shawn Michaels saying the sweet chin music on The Undertaker. Undertaker falls into a pedigree. 1, 2. Nope. Kick out by The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels going crazy, having palpitations in the side of the ring, holding his hair, almost pulling it out. Undertaker hits the tombstone. 1, 2, 3, and that's the end of it. An end of an era as these three men, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, help Triple H up the ramp. They pose at the end of the ramp and just look. And that's the end of an era. What a great match. What a great match. And finally, this might be a little controversial because of the ending. Seth Rollins versus Deanie Ambrose. The breaking up of the Shield. Now, this was kind of an end to their feud, but it wouldn't be as Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose would then go on to feud for the WWE Championship later on. But it was a great match, as they would start on top of Hell in a Cell. Dean Ambrose has commented saying he hated the fact he thought it looked way cooler than it did of him having a ninja style samurai sword, kind of kendo stick. Seth Rollins said, yeah, I thought that way with the blonde hair. Great match, fun match. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose fighting on top of the cell. J&J security getting involved. They lock the cell. Everything happens. Kane outside the cell spraying Dean Ambrose with the fire extinguisher. And then as they're about to go for the finish, suddenly a hologram appears. And Bray Wyatt attacks Dean Ambrose. There was no cue for that. It came out of nowhere. Dean Ambrose takes Sister Abigail, and Seth Rollins pins him to win the match. That's the only problem with this match, but it's a great match in my opinion. It truly is a fun match. But it's a great match in my opinion. Fun match except for the ending. And those are matches that lived up to Hell in a Cell. And let's look at a pay-per-view that lived up, in my opinion, in Hell in a Cell 2010. I loved the build-up to this match. It was a Undertaker and Kane having a feud of a lifetime. The Brothers of Destruction truly going at it. And it was, as the show's beginning, it's kicking off, you have the Hell in a Cell talking, finally, my two favorite sons will do battle in my playground. They call me the Devil's Structure, they call me the Devil's Playground. I'm just simply known as Hell in a Cell. The Phenom versus the Demon. Oh, that was a way to start it off. We get a dark match to start this thing off of Gold Dust, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth versus Drew versus Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler. Gold Dust, Kofi Kingston, and R-Truth would pick up the win. His time is unknown. This would also take place from Dallas, Texas, in the American Airlines Arena. It attends a 7,500 buy rate of 210,000 people. With a commentating team of Jim Ross, Michael Cole, and a very underrated commentary, in my opinion, Matt Stryker, who I actually really do love after watching him in Impact, Lucha Underground. I truly like. I think he's a great announcer. We would then get to kick off the main show, an amazing submissions count anywhere match between The Miz, John Morrison, and your champion Daniel Bryan. Miz would come out and say, I was the mentor for both of you, and this is how I get treated. Fuck you. Basically a screw you. They would have an amazing match. Daniel Bryan would pick up the win after Alex Riley saved The Miz from submitting to John Morrison. Daniel Bryan would attack Alex Riley and then lock in the Yes Lock to retain the United States Championship. We then get the Hell in a Cell between Randy Orton and Sheamus. This was more of a stairs match than anything, now that I've rewatched it for this. It was definitely Sheamus and Randy Orton just going at it on stairs. That was the only weapon they were really bringing in, I guess. I don't know, maybe there was a shortage on chairs, maybe there was a shortage on kendo sticks or tables, I don't know. But that's how it would happen, of Randy Orton hitting the RKO on the stairs. There would be like one chair in this match, and Randy Orton would pick up the win after hitting the RKO. A very good, 22-minute match. Randy Orton would win and pose on top of Hell in a Cell with the WWE Championship. So a very fun match. It was very cool to see. We would then get Edge versus Jack Swagger in the ring and that was a cool 11-minute match. It was during kind of a feud with Edge and Alberto Del Rio. It was okay. Not too great. You know, Jack Swagger as a WWE superstar was okay. He really wasn't getting the crowd heat that he should be. 2-time World Heavyweight Champion, but still, I don't know, this match just didn't click right with me. We then got John Cena versus Wade Barrett, and if John Cena lost, he had to join the Nexus. Had Barrett lost, the Nexus would have been forced to disband, and we would have never had the Nexus ever again in WWE. And the Nexus was also barred from ringside. So this was a great match. No, everyone as a kid was watching this going, there's no way John Cena is going to join the Nexus. No way in hell. And they would actually have a great segment with Mr. McMahon in a coma. After John Cena would lose this match, Wade Barrett would pick up the win. John Cena actually doing the job, which was funny to see. Would join the Nexus, and you would have Mr. McMahon, who's in a coma right now. That's why Triple H and Stephanie are really in charge of Raw. He would ask, is the Nexus still around? They would go, yeah, and he goes, okay, Cena will stop him. And the doctor looks at him and goes, John Cena is actually in the Nexus, sir. It was fucking funny as hell. It was a funny YouTube clip. It's still up there. Go look it up. It really makes me laugh every fucking time that I see it. But John Cena would actually lose this match. The Nexus would kind of get involved, but at the same time they wouldn't. And John Cena would be a member of the Nexus for a few weeks before he was fired after Wade Barrett would not win the WWE Championship from Randy Orton. And you would have John Cena in the Nexus. That was something no one saw coming. It was very fun to see. That was a good, like, Vince Russo-esque twist. But definitely fun to see. Next match would be a 5-minute Divas match, as it would be basically Natalya versus Michelle Mccool with Layla on the outside. Natalya defending her Divas Championship. And Natalya would pick up the win after Layla got involved and caused the DQ. This would not be the end of this feud, but it still would. It's funny watching this and watching women's wrestling now of how much it's definitely changed. Don't get me wrong, these two performing in the match are amazing performers, but at the same time you're watching it going, okay. Not great. Very different. Very different from now. And finally, your main event. Natalya would retain, by the way. I almost forgot about that. Your main event of the evening. Undertaker versus Kane. Hell in a Cell. Oh my god, this is one that always, when people ask me one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches, I'll always say this match. I know it's weird to say as people thought these two's best years were behind them, but I'll always say this match. It's fun. It's great. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship. My favorite title of all time, the big gold belt. Kane is a champion after cashing in his Money in the Bank contract on Rey Mysterio. He's finally getting an actual world title run after his first world title run was just in one night after defeating Stone Cold Steve Austin. He would have a great match with Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam. The Undertaker would return and reveal that it was actually Kane who put him on the sidelines. They would have an amazing match at Night of Champions. After he defeated The Undertaker would kind of fall into a sulk and he wouldn't be the same. Until one day he's sitting in the stairwell. The door opens. Lights look on the Undertaker and he says, "Get out of here. Aren't you listening? I said get out of..." And he just stares, shaking his head. Eyes roll back. The Undertaker's back as the Undertaker. A casket comes out to Kane as he's delivering this promo in the ring, saying at Hell in a Cell, it's the end of the Undertaker. And as he looks in the casket, it's not the Undertaker. Paul Bearer comes back. Paul Bearer would say this is one of his best moments in WWE, and I can't disagree. Just talking about it now, looking at my arms, I'll always get goosebumps. As he opens the casket, Paul Bearer sits up with the urn. Oh, yes! Sits up, points to the ring. The gong goes off. Undertaker's in the ring. He beats the shit out of Kane. Kane's on the ramp screaming, "No!" Paul Bearer and Undertaker are back together. This was awesome. It would lead to a great match, in my opinion. It's hard for Kane and Undertaker not to have a great match. They have such chemistry. It's perfect. They would battle around Hell in a Cell. These two didn't need weapons. They were the weapons, you know? They could try to bring out everything. They could say, okay, let's get some chairs, some tables in this. Choke slam on the stairs. But they didn't need it. Kane and Undertaker would have a great match. And Paul Bearer would have... The door would eventually break and Paul Bearer would get inside. He would shine the light on the Undertaker, allowing Kane to hit a choke slam and a tombstone. Kane retains the title after Paul Bearer betrays the Undertaker. I love this match. It's a fun match. It's one you can look back on for the history of Kane and the Undertaker and be like, okay, amazing. Great show, in my opinion. Fun show besides the Divas match and the Edge and Jack Swagger match. It's one that really, truly helped push WWE history in the right way, in my opinion. So if you're looking for a fun Hell in a Cell to watch, go watch 2010. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you a drink that I actually never made. I've heard amazing things about it. It's a tough one, though. This is the God of War Inception Bomb. Now, I've been playing a lot of God of War, getting ready for Ragnarok. And, of course, it's got a little bit of hell in it with some fireball. So, here we go. Pour cinnamon whiskey and grenadine into one shot glass and Crown Royal into the other. In this drink is, by the way, Fireball, Grenadine, Crown Royal, Red Bull, Blue Curacao, Cream de Menthe, a little bit of lemon lime soda, 151 proof rum, raspberry schnapps, and grape juice. This is a tough drink. You only have one. Do not drink a lot of this. So Fireball, whiskey, and grenadine into one glass to represent Kronos, Crown Royal into the other to represent the gods. And then you're going to take your big glass and pour the Red Bull into the glass. Balance the two shots on the other one, on a... in the glass. I'm trying to remember exactly how to do this. And then you're going to take a pitcher and combine the 151 raspberry schnapps, grape juice. You're going to take a separate glass, pour the blue curacao, creme de menthe, lemon lime soda. And you're going to balance this all on the perfect glass. And then you're going to take one shot out and pull the rest. It's all going to drop into the pitcher. And you have the God of War drink. Do not drink and drive after this drink. This one may be one enough to fuck you the fuck up. Do not drink if you are under 21. Always drink responsibly. And now a reading from the Book of Rules. Hell in a Cell. Impossible to break into or out of unless you're a hologram. A reading from the Book of Rules. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for everyone's favorite, the Battle Droid of the Week. This Battle Droid is going to two people I never thought I would ever have to nominate for this, let alone give it to them. This Battle Droid of the Week goes to Becky Lynch and Asuka for their terrible finish this week. What the fuck was that finish? Seriously, go look it up on YouTube. I can't even say it right. Asuka rolls into the ring just to beat the count of 10, and Becky Lynch just pins her? Doesn't even roll her up, just pins her. When did that become your finishing move, Bex? I don't know. I think that was a stupid way to finish the match. Stupid way to end Raw. Great way to add Becky Lynch to the Hell in a Cell match. I don't know. But because of that, Becky Lynch, Asuka, you guys are the Battle Droid of the Week. Congratulations, here's a new title to add to your collection.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. I've been the Big Guy. I hope you've really enjoyed this. It's been a fun week for me. I really do enjoy having this podcast. I truly love making it. So keep listening. I'll keep making it. Have a great week in wrestling. Next week we'll have our Hell in a Cell predictions. I've been the Big Guy. Have a great week in wrestling.